Start off with the Pledge of Allegiance by Councilman Sands, and then I will get our opening prayer. Please stand.
Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Our Father in heaven, we're so grateful that we could come here this evening as a city council and members of our community. And I'd like to thank you for this wonderful area we have to live in. I'd like to thank you for the wonderful citizens that live here and work hard to keep our town beautiful. And I'd like to thank you for the wonderful staff that we have in Tocqueville City. Please bless us this evening that we will do what is best for the city and what's best for our citizens. We will be good stewards over what we have in Tocqueville and the water and our future development. We ask Thy Spirit to be with us always and to guide us and do what is right. And we say these things in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen. All right. Does anyone else have a different opening statement they would like, or a prayer, another prayer? All right. We're going to move on to the approval of the agenda order.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda order. If you're ready.
Did we, real quick, did we, item one, are we pulling, that's Creekside.
Is it number two?
Number two, I'm trying to think which one.
Yes.
Yes.
Number two's been requested to either be tabled or just removed.
We'll just make a motion that we just remove
Okay.
item number two
Item
off
number
the
two, okay.
agenda.
All right. Make a motion that we approve the agenda order with the exception that we remove business item number 2.
Second. I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Disclosures and declarations of conflict from any of the city councilmen. I have none as mayor.
No.
Okay.
I have none.
Perfect. Consent agenda. Review and possible approval of meeting minutes from July 16th, 2025. City council meeting. So
Make a motion that we approve the meeting minutes from July 16th, 2025 city council meeting.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion on the minutes? All in favor?
Aye.
Abstain. I wasn't here.
Okay. Well, you could have looked at the minutes. No, that's true. You're good. All right. City department reports. Sewer district. Mike is not here. He said he couldn't make it tonight. I know the new sewer plant down in Confluent Parks is moving along very nicely. They still have a December plan on start operating down there, so which would be great. The water reuse system that they're building alongside of it, they didn't think they'd have it done for months later, but they're actually going to have it done at the same time. So our reuse water will be ready to go as soon as we're making it, so which is great. Hurricane Valley Fire District Representative Merlin Spenlow. So real quick, 32 years, right?
31 full-time, 35 with volunteer and
And this
part-time.
is the last month.
This is the last month.
Okay, I was joking. Was he? Yeah, anyways, they said he doesn't look that old. I said, I don't even, he's looked that way since I was in high school. So, yeah, we appreciate the longevity and the stability you've given Hurricane Valley Fire. I remember you used to run out with Eddie Campbell all the time. It's been a long time.
Yeah, it's changed a lot.
Yeah.
Two of us covering the whole place to
Yep.
400 calls to, we should pass 6,000 this year.
Yeah. It's absolutely crazy, the growth and the difference of what we've had and what we've gone to. So, and I see you got a new guy next to you.
Yeah.
Introduce yourself.
Introduce myself. My name is Robert Hooper. Spent the last 22 years with the city of St. George as a battalion chief, and literally a month ago got hired with the district, and real excited to serve and be part of the community.
Didn't have any tall guys apply?
No, they didn't.
All right. Well, thank you, Robert, for introducing yourself. All right, Merlin, what do we have for our monthly report?
Okay, just a couple of things are, staying busy. Definitely today, but we've been going around to all the stations trying to he works the same shift that we work, so he hasn't been able to come on the days that his crew's on, so he can get to know him. So he's been working calls. And even though they respond on medical, they don't do the transport.
Right.
And I think I'm hoping that he's seeing that sometimes you gotta, he saw me today, I do old school, write down things on paper so I can keep track. As you get older, you gotta remember where everybody's at. So just glad to,
He's got your home phone number right.
he's getting it figured out. So he's been over today, and I think, I don't know, we've had, since we started this morning, about 16 calls already today. So,
Wow.
yeah, so, yeah, I don't know how we got everything done, but it's been a fast day. But our wildland crew got deployed again, but they're just, right now, they're staged in Cedar. It's kind of a weird situation. They get paid to be staged in Cedar. Seems funny, but they're there. I have a feeling they'll probably go up to the Monroe fire before long again. It's still going pretty good. Surprised they didn't go back down to Arizona, down by the northern rim, but we're just staying busy. So, you guys have anything for us?
The Pine Valley Fire is completely out now, right? I know they're still working some.
Yeah, I think they still have some crews. I think they're at 90 something, but it's pretty much out. I mean, there's a lot of hot spots out in the
Yeah.
middle, but yeah.
Have you been up there? I'm just wondering how bad it's going to be if we get a big rain and how much.
Well, they had a rain 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, and they got a little over an inch of rain up the canyon, and most of it went into the lake.
Yeah. Okay.
So they're gonna have to clean that out before the snow falls again. And
yeah.
so, yeah.
I know there's a lot of concern on that side about that, but I was just curious. And thank goodness we didn't get enough on this side to worry about it. So.
Yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, it's still plenty dry out there. I'm hoping that we can get through the summer, not have much more big ones before we're done. So people have been behaving pretty good. That's what really helps us, is people don't get out and do things that,
Yeah.
no, I'll just do it. I won't cause a fire, but it happens pretty quick. So
Anybody have any questions for Merlin?
Thanks for a lifetime
big
of
thing.
service.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I probably won't come back over to the meetings unless there's something really exciting on the docket. Or you need me for something.
What is exciting that would you come to Tokerville? Like, I'm trying
Well-
to picture that.
Let's put it this way. A long time ago, I picked Toker because it was a little small, sleepy town. But I might,
Still that way for now, but I
if
think
he
it's
gets
gonna
assigned here,
change.
Chief said we might make some changes, but if he's assigned here, he might be wishing for Rockville or Springdale soon. Because Virgin's going crazy too, so
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank
appreciate
you.
you guys.
Thank you for all your service and all your years. And we're definitely going to miss you, but we'll still see you around town.
Yeah.
So, all right, planning and zoning, Emily.
So Planning Commission next week has quite a few land use applications on it. We've got a lot line adjustment and a zone change. Those are both for the Benz properties as a part of the nightly rental, bringing those properties into compliance. So if those go through, then the next step would be that conditional use permit for his radio tower and possibly a variance for the height if it's too tall. Maybe Darren can report on this more, but the fire hydrant installation seems to have stalled. My guess is they're waiting on maybe the results of these applications first, but that also will have to be done before the nightly rental gets approved. We also received another site plan for Firelight, planning area 11, residential planning area 11, so that's over by Westfield. And Planning Commission will be looking at that next week for the lot sizes and the widths, and then you'll see it after that for open space and everything. We also had a couple more sign permits come in. One was able to be approved just by the Planning Commission, no variance. And then another one came in for the Satt Brothers Travel Center for the fuel canopy. They're not bringing in their own regular fuel. They're only doing the diesel. So there's a Sinclair sign that's going up. And they'll go through a similar process as Satt, but they were able to make quite a few changes. So they may only need a variance on the size just because those canopies are pretty long. We also reviewed a simple subdivision application, and that's tied to business item 1 tonight. And we're still working on some draft ordinances for the ADU code, some of the sign changes, and then land use violation enforcement. That was a request from the city prosecutor, so we're working with him on that. Elections have been pretty quiet since we didn't have a primary. But we're going to start planning a Meet the Candidates night. That'll probably be in September or early October. And then just a reminder that financial disclosures for people in the general election are due on October 7th. So watch for an email from me to send those back. And then building permits, just a little update on building permits. Mary and John met with a representative from Firelight to talk them through some of the new legislative changes from this year. Those can help speed up review times for identical plans, of which they have a lot. So there was a few things they needed to tweak on their permit plans in order to qualify for that. So I think they're working on that. So hopefully that can help us get their permits through quicker. Year to date, we've had 45 building permits issued, which I think is how many we had all last year. So that's interesting. 18 of them were single-family dwellings. And then just in the last 30 days, 4 single dwellings have been issued. And that was, those are all Firelight. And there's quite a few in the queue right now. So I think we've maybe got 7 or 8 more that are going through the plan review process. So they're moving
Probably
forward.
8 because we gave them 12 more, so
Yeah,
they went
That sounds
from the
right.
4 to, yeah, okay.
that's it.
Thank you. Darren?
So we'll just start at the north end of town and work our way down. So essentially, the Boulder Ridge subdivision has finished mostly all of the rough grading for the subdivision, that first phase. They've got the drainage ponds formed. They've got a lot of that. And so they were starting to do the infrastructure such as sewer, and we said, wait, you got to wait a minute. So we needed to finish up some paperwork with them on that so that they can continue forward. So they're on a hold for probably another day or two, but we had a pre-construction meeting this morning with the utility companies, and it was a lot of good conversation there with coordination back and forth between when they install and different utilities. So we're moving forward pretty well with the construction of Boulder Ridge Phase 1. It's looking, as you can see that whole entire hill is completely gone. In his traffic report, they were needing to put in he didn't need to make that wide of a road, but to accommodate the fire district or the water district's access and the frontage road there, he needed to make it wider. And so he's got it at all 4-lane build out, or plus a turn lane. And so it's looking pretty nice, to tell you the truth, that way as far as rough grading goes. And we'll start to see utilities coming out in the ground. The next thing, we basically, Zapp Brothers, they're moving right along. I have not seen any approval from UDOT on that traffic light yet. Don't know what's holding it up. Every time I talk, it's in one or the other's court. It's either the engineers or UDOT's. They've got to get that thing installed before the city council will give the certificate of occupancy. So they're feverishly moving forward as quick as they can on that. The other things coming down the parkway, you'll see that they moved the stoplights are up on the north side. We talked about that moving super quickly. They were able to get the south side done about a week and a half early from what they were thinking. So they're anticipating having that stoplight up on the other side about 5 weeks ish from now, and could be 6. So that'll put them right about the time of when they were thinking they were going to finish and be out of here. So that mid-September, I'm just, as I look at it and watch a little bit, I'm a little hesitant to say they'll be completely done with the ramps and the wall, but they could be. They've done some pretty amazing things time-wise on the north cut of that, the cut, basically, north side of the cut. They were almost a month quicker than they said they would be. So that's pretty
So
impressive.
real quick on that, we have the traffic light up there now for JP and the road, but as soon as they move that, isn't the water district going to put another one up for the Hall Road coming across? Have they decided not to do that?
So they're waiting until they get into full-on build mode of the
the dam. Right now, they're putting a lot of what they call a slurry type of fill down in the keyway.
Right.
They're just about done with that, so I would see pretty quickly. But yes, UDOT has approved a different light system than what we have up there right
Right.
now. They have agreed that they'll work with Judd, with our contractor and their contractor to make sure that that light is working for them. As we came through tonight, that was a little bit of an interesting maneuver there by their water truck.
Right.
We actually have meetings with them tomorrow. We'll discuss that again and say, hey, we need to work together here to make sure this is working for your operations of the Hall Road. So on top of that, but the south, nice thing is the south is open. They haven't striped it yet. And the reason why is because of the construction that needs to complete on that. Obviously a lot of people have asked me, is it going to be that skinny? I'm like, no, it's going to be the full width there, or it'll be the width that you're seeing come across through the cut and everything. It'll tie in there, right? And the project, the project ends on the south side of the Trail Ridge Estates entrance to that subdivision.
I don't know if maybe we need to we'll talk to the sheriff's department, but today I was coming up from the south side, and I watched 4 cars not even stop at the stop sign. They just
The light.
blew through. No,
Yeah.
the light's gone. Now it's the stop sign.
Oh, the stop sign.
The stop sign. So, yeah, there's a stop sign. So anyway, I don't know if we need to because I want all the locals that used to stop in there for
Yeah.
one, but
A lot
Yeah.
of a lot of people are rolling through it, definitely.
they just weren't even a roll through. This was just a straight
Straight on, go as fast as they
just-
can.
It's
Yeah.
just coming off the hill, and I watched 4 in a row do that.
So-
So
So we did put up the temporary stop sign that's
Right.
there. I can't remember if they put a stop bar or not.
there's there's a.
It's just there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I thought they had a
we
pipe,
could,
a
we'll
lot.
talk about
Okay.
that in our construction.
Let's
meeting
see
tomorrow.
what we can do, because I want people to get used to stopping, because that's gonna
Yeah.
be there forever. So-
Yeah, and people will need to come to a stop here within the next probably, could be as quick as 3 to 4 weeks.
Yeah, there'll be people driving off.
Yeah, as part of their logistics of tying in the
Exactly.
north end, that might be people, one lane going down the parkway at a time.
So, yeah, and it's just something I saw today. It's the first day. I know it's new.
Yeah.
But let's maybe address that.
Yeah, so everything that way. I've got a few assignments from council that I'll follow through with our meetings tomorrow.
Okay.
With change orders and a few things such as that, so. But other than that, really, everything is moving along as they said it would.
Perfect.
So once we got all of the approvals out of the way, so. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
I'm not sure what you can do, but it is difficult coming out of Trail Ridge with all the
The cones, I saw that.
road
'cause
closed
you're really,
and
yeah,
being
you're
able to
almost,
see and pick up which lane you're going to and all that stuff. So it is a little difficult coming out of there.
yeah.
So
And
I'm not sure what you can do. but-
so all of these traffic controls that you're seeing have been approved by UDOT, gone through their process, the ones that are sitting there right now. We can continue to refine, and I'll definitely mention it. I like the stop sign, the different things. I'll mention that and see if there's something we can open up wider. It's just, I don't know if they can pull out a temporary stop line for that as well.
Yeah.
Because you guys actually come past your stop sign quite a bit before you get to the edge of the cones where the traffic's going now.
That's true.
So, but as soon as that ties in, it's going to be, yeah. So I think,
Yeah, just-
I'm not a traffic engineer by any means or saying that, but I rely on their expertise and UDOT's expertise to approve and
I'm
put.
just pointing out, no big deal. I'm just
Yeah.
pointing out that it is a little difficult for people coming out of there. Not
Okay.
from-
Tell you can park in Chula Creek and walk on the bridge. and get-
There you go.
I was gonna say.
There you go.
Yeah. That's right.
Everybody parking in Joy Creek, where at, along the
Anyway.
roads.
Just use Levi's twist.
True. So.
All right, anybody got any other questions for Darren? You guys just keep doing, you guys doing a great job, so just
Thank
keep
you.
working on it. You and Emily are killing it on the planning and zoning, it's great. All right, Ben, our city manager, what do we got?
Yeah, a couple of quick updates. The law incident summary report for the second quarter is updated on the website. Go have a look at that. It stayed actually pretty consistent with the first quarter. first time we've ever looked at these kind of statistics from the sheriff's office, so it's good to see that. Currently, the way that the report's structured, I actually have to go through each incident line by line, which is actually an interesting experience. And you see, even though Tokerville doesn't have a lot of businesses, but I can see the impact that businesses cause on the number of call outs in the community. And the reason I bring this up is because state code allows what it's called a disproportionate service fee. So if there's businesses or entities that are causing a disproportionate demand on your service, then they're paying through their regular property tax. You can assess a fee, typically alongside the business license, and maybe something that, currently the sheriff's office is charging us a flat rate. As call outs increase, I anticipate that we'd see a proportionate increase in our bill from them. And we may want to look at, and this is, a couple of years out, but we may want to start considering what a disproportionate service fee for law enforcement would look like in anticipation of essentially the sheriff's office needing to be out here more so that burden isn't on the residents, isn't on the property owners, because really the property owners aren't benefiting to the same extent that businesses are with this law enforcement service. So just something to keep in mind there. We had a request from our front desk to remind everybody to watch your water use on Ion Water. Number of properties have been charged the additional surcharge over an allotment, which goes to the Conservancy District. So if you have any questions about water use or how to use Ion Water or anything like that, they're always here to help during business hours, Monday through Thursday. So come stop in and talk to the front desk about that. Quick update on our bank account, Zions Bank account. We implemented 2 new services with Zions Bank. That one of them is a fraud prevention tool called Positive Pay. Some of you business owners may know what Positive Pay is, but we implemented that with the city. Essentially, it's a tool to ensure that there's no check fraud with the city as we send out checks to people. The next one is a sweep account. So we keep a few months of operating cash in our main checking account, which yields no interest. There's a sweep account option with Zions Bank, which essentially sweeps all of that money for our few operating months into an investment account. And then when money's drawn from it, it puts it back. It's kind of just this automated thing, but we implemented that service. So I imagine as we go through budgeting, we'll see an increase in our interest yield more than anticipated for this next year. So just another thing to watch out for there. Westfield Park construction. I think most of you know, due to budgetary constraints, we've tried to piecemeal this out and do it as inexpensively as possible, but still get the same quality of product. You'll see that we had difficulty getting bids for grading out there. And so you'll see our Public Works crew probably next week doing the grading. So it'll be all staked out and our Public Works crew will be doing the grading for Westfield Park. So that project is moving along. We've ordered the things like awning, the pavilions that needed to be, that are a few months out. So those are on order and really excited to get that park in place for the community. And I would say as a side note, I do occasionally watch other municipalities that are building their agendas and I see, their approval of contracts. And what I'm seeing with other cities is like a 3 to 4 acre park is typically going for, when they bid it out, the whole project is typically going for usually about between 2 and 4 million, kind of depending on the amenities. And so I just wanted to call out, we're really doing this on a shoestring budget, and I think we'll still have a great park in the end. I did want to mention the old church drainage improvements. That's something that's been talked about in council meeting. We'll be moving forward with those improvements in the next few weeks with the catch basin and then some riprap along Old Church.
You're talking above, basically got flooded out from the pipe break. We're going to fix. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
That's all that I have.
Pipe that burst of the Cotton well line that broke, that washed all the sediment and sand down.
Over in that area. Yeah.
All right. Anybody got any questions for Ben?
Who's dealing with the cost on that improvement? Is it gonna be costly to take care of that and who's paying for it?
Because we're doing it in-house, it should be pretty inexpensive, covered by the stormwater fund is how we're paying for that. We could wait for future phasing of a development out there, but I think it makes more sense based on the cost. It's pretty minimal, so we can do it, with our own labor and just get that problem resolved so that we're not dealing with the cleanup
Okay.
instead of in the front end. We're dealing with it in the front end, yeah.
All right.
Were you able to find out what the cutting in the Laverton Creek was?
Oh yeah, I talked to the Wildland Fire crew was out there. They've kind of identified areas themselves within the communities where they should do that mitigation work. And they are open to community feedback as to where we should prioritize that work. So I brought that to John, is the fire marshal, brought that to his attention. He's been in communication with the fire department. So hopefully in the future, we can have some more coordination on that front.
Thank you.
Yeah, we need to use the fire department because they are contractually have to do so much work in Tocqueville for their wildland fires. So I think we need to talk this winter when they're off there, take those guys and get them cleaning up some creeks. So, yeah.
When Merlin's dead. don't-
Right. October 1st or September 2nd. All right. Any other questions for Ben?
Yeah. So what kind of amenities you're going to try to get done at the park?
All of them as in the most recent design. The one shortfall that we're hoping to have the funding for, the big expensive one, is the pickleball courts, right? So that's one that we're doing all the work. Additional impact fees are coming in the meantime, and we're kind of waiting to make sure that we get the funding for that. But that's kind of the area where we have some flexibility. Hopefully we don't just leave that as a pad. We want the park to be completely done from the get-go. But that if we do run out of money, that would be the place where we have to cut first.
Yeah, the plan is the pavilions. What we decided there is to do 4 small pavilions and then one bigger 20 by 30, and get the concrete, the grass, get the power over to the pickleball court area, everything done, extend the parking lot on the east side all the way down in front of the pickleball court. And then if we can, having these next 12 building permits from Firelight's going to add a big chunk of change. So we're getting real close to maybe having enough to do all of it. So.
Did we get any grant money for that park?
No, we didn't receive that grant award that we applied for.
Okay.
Yeah.
We would like to, but I found parks are hard to get grant money for.
Very competitive.
Yeah.
Well, we tried.
Yep. All right, we're going to move into our public forum portion of the meeting. Anyone can come up to the microphone and speak about anything that's not on the agenda this evening. So come forward and state your name and your concerns.
Dan Catlin, 821 South Peach Street. Just driving through today northbound, I didn't know the light was gone, so I panicked when I went through, thinking I went by the semaphore and didn't see it, but it's not there anymore. Just a couple comments. Back when I was on the planning commission, Firelight's big selling point was all the benefits of their phases coming in and the parks and trails that were going to be used by the local residents. And I'm glad to hear they're actually looking at the phase that's down by Mulberry and Westfield, because originally I believe that was one of the first phases to go in that had a park and trails in it for the citizens to use. So later they changed it over to the area they're in now where citizens have no access to it. Being a former contractor for two governments, and being a government employee working with contractors, I have never seen amendments to agreements and contracts the way I have every time Firelight walks in here and needs something. I've never seen an agreement where it didn't benefit the government entity that was agreeing to change the agreement. An example is in the last meeting we had on the additional spots. The city attorney said we've opened the door in January. Personally, I don't think we should open the door in the first place, but the developer was part of the original group that went up to get the funding for the parkway, and it was in their benefit to do it because how could they build if they didn't have the parkway going in? So it wasn't strange to them. They didn't know what was involved in the parkway when they did it. And when they signed the agreement not to build before the parkway was done, I think that we need to quit changing the agreement every time they have a whim. And when you ask them why they want it, it's because we want to build. That's not a legitimate reason for going through the work of changing an agreement. On a couple of the things we had in the last meeting, The mutual aid agreement, I sent a text to the couple of the city council members. My concern on that was the positions that were called out, and we played up the mutual aid agreement of somebody coming helping us if we're in trouble. A mutual aid agreement is just that. If somebody else calls, we have resources that have to go to them, whether it be equipment or personnel. When we were saying what personnel did what, our treasurer being an incident commander, with our city manager being the IT professional, are we really going to be willing to send them anywhere for a week? So I was a bit concerned when we agreed to sign up to that in the first place. I asked what training is required for these individuals, because I have been an incident commander and know what training is involved in that. So I don't know if there's any training requirements. I know that the agreement requires that all of our employees in the city go through training on the IT equipment and the cybersecurity part of it, which I don't know if we have that in place. Just a couple other things. I don't know how much time I've got. When you were talking about when the planning commission did the red lines on the ordinance change on chapter 17, it was brought up that it incorporated 11 red lines, but then there was a bunch of discussion about additional changes that were done. When I was on planning commission, if you had a public hearing and the planning commission took action after that public hearing, the modifications that can be done after that without going back to the planning commission or doing another public hearing is pretty limited on what you can change and what the intent of what the planning commission came out with. So I never did hear I heard there were a lot of changes. I didn't hear what the changes were. And I think that was probably about it. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Dan.
Stacy Eaton on Ash Creek Drive. I watched the ribbon cutting and of the new highway there. And Mr. Mayor, I take issue on you using that as a political venue to announce why and what you're doing and why you're running and all that stuff. I don't think city functions, and you as acting mayor, you should be using those to help try to get you reelected. Also, you donated items to be used there, and again, I don't think it's appropriate that it be advertised to try to improve your business at a city function. It's just not appropriate. I see you're smiling there, but I'm sorry, it's just not appropriate.
No, that's good. That was good to hear.
That's pretty much all I've got. I think we should get a commitment from you and for anybody else that's running for re-election that you will not use city functions to campaign or to try to better any businesses that you may have. Thank you.
Anybody else? All right, we're going to move into our business portion of the meeting. Item F1, discuss the possible action on deferral agreement for Creekside subdivision.
So this is that simple subdivision I mentioned. John Fahrenkamp, it has purchased this lot and is essentially just dividing it into two. So we passed that ordinance last year that this is a subdivision, simple subdivision. It's 3 lots or less. With a subdivision or a building permit or a land use similar to that, you're required to put in all of the improvements to our city standards. So John is here to ask for a deferral of some of those improvements, including curb, gutter, stormwater, and an extension of asphalt, because none of the other homes there on Ash Creek Drive on either side or further down have that. So our code does allow for this as an option for him. He just has to come before you. The draft agreement was in there, which includes the caveat that if the city ever wants to make those improvements, then he is responsible. That will be recorded, or the owner at the time, they'll be recorded against the property. And he showed plans, they're in your packet with and without, so you can see what they would be doing if they don't have to put those improvements in, and Darren can explain that too. It's got drainage.
If you have any questions there, basically what exists there now is the asphalt, a borrow ditch, and essentially that's it. For the most part, our standards and specs require the other things that curb, gutter, sidewalk, extending the asphalt over to the lip of the new curb, things such as that. If we stay with it, what's currently out there, there are no curb, gutter, sidewalk in that area on Ash Creek Drive or Creekside through that same area. The only thing we are asking is this will actually give, as we do this and we do these minor lot subdivisions or simple subdivision, essentially we will be able to ask the applicant to be able to give us what's always been used as a prescriptive easement, because it's all it's ever been for the road right there as it clips that corner because of the restraints of the stream or Ash Creek there. Basically, we'll be able to get legal dedicated road to us, or parcel of ground that's dedicated for the purpose of a road of the existing asphalt and improvements there. And then we're actually, with the approval of this, they're required that he needs to extend a little bit of the asphalt out for the fire hydrant area, because they do require a 26-foot wide asphalt in that area for the turnaround, being able to turn and fight fires right next to the existing fire hydrant. The existing fire hydrant is on the northish side of the road there. And so he would be required for a short span there to increase the asphalt there to the 26 feet wide of asphalt. So this has gone through our joint utility committee. Everybody, I believe, is ready to sign the plans. And I think that next week they will show up and sign. But this deferral agreement of these improvements gives city staff the direction on which way we need to go.
Okay.
So
Questions?
Haven't we previously entered into deferral agreements with adjacent properties or properties in this area?
down in the area, yes. So there was some down there. There's been some on Pecan, down by the Maxwells, the different places down there. I can't remember all the people's names, but less than 2 years ago, we did one on Ash Creek there by the Olds' property. There's another home. So essentially, as we start to do infill on the lots that are in this area that's zoned, the resulting parcels are compliant with the existing zoning, the existing frontage requirements. Everything's it's all meets all of our requirements that way. So
And there is no curb and gutter adjacent to. on
either
the
way,
property.
yeah, there is none anywhere along Creekside or that area. As it currently sits, all the drainage is working fine. Even in the 2010 floods that we had, it actually held up pretty well. We've got area drains down by the LDS church, a few of them up by the old church road. A few things there that will grab that water, that storm water, and then takes it on down. So
That water-
drainage is working fairly well now.
That water can't get that way. It can't get over the old Thrill Hill.
That little tiny Thrill Hill,
So
yeah.
that water.
So this does contemplate in the construction plans a little area drain there with but the problem is the applicant doesn't own to the low point of the road there. They could put in a area drain there and take it across the road. And some of those utilities are pretty shallow. That might be in conflict, but as they do it, that's the problem there again. Prescriptive easement where utilities just kind of followed the old Pioneer Road that was built and created years and years ago.
Yeah, I see. You're trying to put
So you can-
a rock ditch right over that high pressure gas line.
And they were fine with that. The Enbridge gas was fine as long as they, they have to have an inspector, as a construction, they have an inspector out there while you're creating that and placing material.
If y'all go out and look at that road isn't your road. It's never has a chance to be widened. It's one of these streets in town you just need to leave alone, period. From the
Exactly.
stop sign all the way down to where the Thrill Hill hump was. Fire trucks can do their thing right there. They've been doing it forever. And that rock ditch, that's the most, I can't stand those rock ditches with those lava rocks. They're the most dangerous things because they stick up. For me, I'd like to see that just, I don't even think you need a deferral agreement because I don't think you're ever going to do anything ever with that. Unless you want to get eminent domain and wipe out the folks' house.
We gotta defer the city sidewalk.
Yeah.
Curb and gutter.
We just have to, we don't want them to change it and do it. We'll
There's
just,
no room to put a sidewalk. There's no room to do anything unless you're going to build on the creek side,
right.
which I doubt you're going to be able to build on that creek side.
You're too close to the
This
floodway.
deferral agreement is one of the options available under your ordinance if there's a finding of unusual circumstances, which it sounds like what's being described here is it's probably always going to say rural. You don't necessarily have to make them install the improvements later. In fact, it might be difficult to enforce it later on. So that's something to keep in mind if you're entering into a deferral agreement like this. It sounds like you guys are kind of weighing these things in your mind already, but deferral agreement's beneficial if, you probably have no interest in ever requiring these improvements to be installed. If you do, maybe not the best route to go because they can be tough to enforce down the road. You have to litigate the issue, that sort of thing.
Well, the road and everything right now works perfect.
Yeah.
He's got his house set up 3 feet higher than the street level. I just I don't see anything to defer.
Well, it's just kind of those boxes we have to change.
It is a
When they-
standard, so
when
you
they
do have to.
split the
Subdivision, right.
Yeah, I
When they
know.
create a subdivision,
So-
they're required to do curb and gutter sidewalk.
He can't do curb
And
and
just so you know
That's
that,
why it's- you have to
He
come
can't
down
do
to-
curb and gutter there unless you want to go down there out of the property line and put it down in the creek.
And if the city
Because
never
road-
requests him to,
Have
then
we
he
ever
never
had that
has
road
to.
dedicated to us? So
No.
you're,
Right, but we're saying we're not gonna ever make them do it. We're just saying this is the step we have to take to let them do us.
well, can we defer without cash bonds? And knowing we're
Yes.
not going to
Yes.
develop, we're not.
And there's no cash bond. If some chance it ever came to somehow we could do it, then they would have to pay for it at that point.
The deferral agreement reserves the right in the future if the city wants to force these improvements to be installed, the city can. They don't have
From
to.
what Mr. Fahrenkamp would be anticipating normal right now, wouldn't be what would happen if you had to really do something with that.
Right.
The expense would be way more than you're thinking to put on to anybody for that because it's such an unknown.
If I may, there is another option that I addressed with Darren and Emily, and the attorney just brought it up. If the property is deemed rural, all improvements can be completely eliminated. And I would prefer that personally. I would like to not change the street at all. I don't like the borrow ditch either. I just thought it was better than curb gutter and sidewalk and a storm drain. So I'm just going down the path directed, but if you all deem it as rural, I believe that all of the improvements can be
Well, if we-
eliminated.
Yeah.
We just
We don't
defer.
have a rural cross
That
section
isn't,
right there.
that is an option as well. That's a different option than what's being presented today, and we couldn't approve that today. But that's an option if long-term, you say, we're never going to require these improvements to be installed in this area. Let's just designate it differently. You can do that down the road.
Well, if we just defer the curb gutter sidewalk, that doesn't mean he has to put the drainage in. Or we can defer the storm drain too.
you could defer the rock.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
we don't have to make him do that. We can defer all of it and just.
You could.
The rock
and
ditch.
not
I
have to
would-
go
I
through
would
the rural
suggest-
process.
I would suggest you have them.
This will be a hazard.
I would suggest you have them meet whatever the joint utility committee needs. Ash Creek Sewer
For-
District
for
needs they need a sewer lateral. They
Yeah.
need
Yeah, for
we need a water
utilities.
meter and things like that. But those are just essentially cuts in the road and connect to the existing water main or sewer mains.
Yeah, he's got it down the bottom corner there.
And I think Power's already worked out what they need for you as
That
well.
will be above ground, yeah.
Yeah.
So that would be
On the
this
poles.
plan, but without the ditch.
I
So
just,
we-
I just look at that, it's never changing and ever changing.
Right.
Well, that's the purpose.
Mess with that road.
We could make the motion, say, don't have to put the drainage ditch in.
Yeah, I think it's the best thing.
Yeah.
This, I should know the answer to this question, but when we split the lots, does it automatically rezone it or is it already zoned R112?
No, it's already
It's already
R112.
It's already 112?
It's already
Okay.
R112 and it meets both resulting parcels are 12,000 square feet or larger.
When you go, I guess it'd be south on Ash Creek, on the other side of Old Church, you have a hodgepodge of small sidewalks on both sides of the street. Some of them stop in front of property, some of them keep going.
And
What
this,
what is all that?
so it's basically just as homeowners have built it, they've put those there.
Your own hands.
This would be something that possibly in the future
Okay,
that you guys
But I mean-
would say, we want to do a project here and we'd like to put sidewalk there,
okay, but,
or fix it.
but right now, all that existing stuff along
Ash Creek.
Ash Creek is all
It's,
the homeowner, it's not city stuff?
it's
all-
actually falls within inside the city right away.
But who put that in then?
Just the different
So it's
property
just
owners.
been hodgepodge of the
For
property
the last,
owners where they want it or
for the last
don't want it
50
or-
years
Okay,
or longer, I don't know.
Yeah.
okay.
Wayne could probably tell you when it all went
City's
in.
done some and people's done some
Yeah.
and there's some just missing.
Right.
The problem with that road is it's like 100 feet wide. So it's so wide for what we're gonna have down Ash Creek Drive.
Yeah.
And this one here is narrow and anything you alter to it now,
Right.
unless we make it a one-way, but it's working the way it is. I
Yeah.
put some signs up, but it's narrow. And if you try to put any improvement into it, you just narrow it up.
Right.
And that rock ditch will take 8 feet away and you're gonna be taking in the asphalt. So you really don't have to
It'll
do
actually, it would not take away the asphalt at all.
It'd go the other way. It'd go on the,
No, you're trying to build into his property to do it, and you can't do that.
We're not, it'd still be in the new right of way or be in the right of way.
Well, you don't have a right of way down that road.
That's what.
well, that's,
what
this
we're
is
gonna get.
what, when we subdivide, we're saying, hey, you're gonna give us a right of way
Yeah.
in this.
They're gonna give us a
Subdivision.
partial that will be for a road.
I'm not gonna put something there.
But yeah,
If I give you a right of way, I'll tell you to go out over down the creek, get off that property. It's just,
Build a bridge.
it's one of those pieces
Right.
that if anybody looks at it, it's senseless to do anything with it.
Yep.
As long as he's got his setback at some predetermined right of way.
It's his property line. Yeah, and he's creating that. It's basically what's establishing the new right of way is the existing asphalt. They're just going center line of existing asphalt and giving the minimum requirement.
Well, I overpaved that by 7 feet back in 93. So really, the original asphalt was way over there, so it's,
And all I can go off is what's existing.
it's a tough one right there, but
Yeah, all I can go off.
The original deferral is for the sidewalk, curb and gutter, and asphalt extension to the sidewalk and curb and gutter? And storm drain.
And storm drain.
And storm drain. So if the rock wall is the storm drain,
Or the
correct?
rock ditch.
Dog ditch.
Or is there any other tie-ins?
Technically, the
Part
borrow
of the
ditch.
drainage.
Borrow ditch is the storm drain,
system,
okay.
yes.
Are you ready for motion?
Yeah.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the deferral agreement, but also to include deferring the storm drain system with the borough ditch. I don't think that's needed. It hasn't been there for how many years? I don't know why we would
Yep.
make that something that stands out too. And I don't know if, do we need to rewrite anything to state that or?
No, I put storm drain.
how is
You did
that, how is that deferred and holds the landowner responsible? If you're not trying to hold a cash bond.
You're asking
That we're
how
not
is it
gonna ask
deferred?
for.
It's recorded against the landowner's property, and at any time, the city could ask them to fulfill this obligation and would have the right to pursue this amount in court if they refuse to comply.
And that's
how
that's
it's
right. That's where I have a
enforced.
problem, because if you do improve that, it's gonna be way more much money than what you think it is. And what the owner's gonna think it is.
You want them to pay for it all right now then?
No, they wanna pay for nothing.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
the only way to
It
do
would
it is
defer it.
and never have
And,
to.
yeah.
Unless he goes to the rural zoning portion, but.
Does the deferral say that he never has to pay for the improvements?
That says unless the city makes everybody else do, we're not gonna go in and say only one landowner has to. It would have to be the whole road.
Full improvement.
Well, not necessarily, yeah.
Well,
You could, the city could, it wouldn't be equitable, but the city could come in and say, okay, you need to go ahead and install these improvements. The most likely situation would be they'd call all the deferral agreements at one time in the same area. But this seems to highlight like a problem you guys might want to address separately with some kind of
I'm just
like
trying to
rural
decide
overlay zone or
25
something
years
like
from
that.
now, what could happen there? Somebody, a different council might want, let's
They
put in
could.
some major improvements
Well-
and widen that road and take all this
They
property.
could, but
They could, they
right
certainly
now,
could.
we're going to defer. And I'll second. that.
I'd like to, I wasn't quite done with the motion.
Oh, okay.
The deferral, but I would also like to include that the joint utility has all their stuff into that. Could be covered in there already, right?
It's already,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask one more question before you proceed? If I was accepted as a rural area, would I still, could I get around having to give the town the road and do anything?
No, so we don't have a rural cross section right now. And as a part of making this into a subdivision, he has to have dedicated frontage on a city road, which he doesn't right now. So that's why he has to give us a 50-foot right of way and it has to meet city standards. If
Yeah.
not, we have to defer it.
It's not 50.
Understood. 20.
24.
Say 50, well,
26, I believe.
okay.
So,
It says
I mean,
50 on the plans.
along that line too, like we talked about a little bit briefly, was we haven't really gone through the city and looked at any of the roads that we might want to designate as rural roads, correct?
Correct.
Would
This
you
is,
like
yeah,
to-
this idea is that's being circulated. It doesn't exist in the city right now.
Yeah, right. So that's something that we as a city. need to-
Something we could do.
It would
Yeah.
delay you building. It
Yeah.
would delay if you wanted to wait.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that that's something that we should
Okay, so
direct staff to do. at
are you
some
still good
point.
on your motion?
Yeah, I think my original motion, because we don't need to do the utilities, is good.
Can you say it again, Joey?
I move to approve the deferral agreement for the Creekside subdivision, as stated, to also include the storm drain borrow ditch as a deferral.
And I second it.
So he doesn't need to do the,
Okay.
he doesn't need to do the rock work and the
Okay.
storm drain. It's been there
Does
for
he have
that
to
one.
do the cash deposit?
No.
No, because.
No.
That's an either or.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's not, doesn't need to do
And
that yet.
this deferral agreement would be recorded with the
Against it.
property.
Right.
Right, but it doesn't require him to make a cash deposit. Okay.
No.
Okay. Any more discussion on this item? The roll call vote, start with you, Chuck. That's an aye.
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 All right, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, item F3, discuss a possible action on accepting a trail installation payment in lieu of improvements from Sapp Brothers. All right, we talked about this last city council meeting about their, along the frontage road, they have their borrow ditch and they're concerned about future freeway off-ramp construction, not knowing where things are going. They hate to pay things and then rip it out and pay for it again. So they're willing to pay us. Did they give us a number?
We don't have an official number yet. Essentially, it would go to their engineer to develop a cost and then we'd verify that with our engineers to make sure that we're getting a fair value for it.
Didn't he say $250,000?
It was between 2 and
250.
It was two.
Yeah, it was a
2
guesstimate.
2 to 3,
yeah.
but they don't have an exact.
Should we wait on voting on this until we get a number from them?
The way it's written currently, they're going to provide us a written cost estimate, and then we get the opportunity to verify the cost estimate with our engineer. So we can verify it, we can push back if we don't think that it's market value.
Okay.
Yeah.
This gives them a way to move forward. If we say we don't like the price and they want to get this answer, whether we say yes or no, then they can either start building it or they can come up with a cost. So.
I think I asked this question before as to who's going to maintain that, and I think they agreed to do that. Is there a way to
It's
make sure that that's included in whatever agreement we make, that they're responsible for the maintenance of that area?
It's their cooperative.
When you say maintain that area, do you mean the area within UDOT's right of way or their
As
property?
far as weed control and
If you go from the edge of the existing asphalt over to that new borrow ditch that they've created, that's UDOT's right of way there. So, but they have agreed that they would keep the weeds down and it'll still always be dirt, but it'll be a dirt shoulder. But I think that would be appropriate to have that in the agreement if you felt they needed it.
yeah,
What could we use the money for?
Westfield Park.
The contract actually leaves that option open to the city. So we see essentially two paths that would be, both of them are on our strategic plan. So one would be future community trail network. we're in the early stages of that right now, or the completion of that would be the other possibilities to fill in the funding gap with Westfield Park.
The way it's drafted now, it says you can use the funds toward other park or trail capital improvements. So exactly what Ben said.
You know, I looked at that. I was pretty decided last time that I didn't want to burden a future council with the problem, but I've been up there many times and looked at it. You know, it could be 20, 25 years out before anything even need that. But then if you put it there, it's like a trail going to nowhere unless UDOT makes a walking path underneath the underpass, which they usually don't. So,
Well, hopefully when we get a new underpass, the idea there is to widen that out and get walking trail under. And that's on their 5-year, the design is on their 5-year plan. So, yeah. So it could someday, but I hear what you're saying. It might be 20 years.
I don't see any underpasses with pathways underneath them.
Exit 10, it has pedestrian paths on both sides.
Guardrail or something on it, or
It's just a sidewalk right against the thing. There's no delineation between traffic and people.
I mean,
Yeah, this is eventually, because eventually the traffic study that was done for
Boulder
Sapp
Ridge,
Brothers and
yeah.
Sapp Brothers Boulder Ridge, it will require stoplights at the off ramps and on ramps for that area.
Put a cheaper sidewalk in there instead of 8 foot wide with curb and gutter.
Well, so the reason we were asked and required that in the construction plans is because that is what the parkway cross section shows is an 8-foot path. We actually already during the design stages with the city engineers basically said, hey, yeah, we could probably let them put an asphalt trail rather than a concrete trail because it's a little cheaper. There's a lot of things we shortened it up because we didn't know what was going to happen there as they make their traditional diamond change and move those off ramps out. We've accommodated a few things that way. But yeah, they'll still have to build the radius there at 1700 north. Old Highway 91, the new.
They're still going to have to have the ADA compliant.
They'll have to have that
and all
ADA ramp. They'll have to, and here again, here's an ADA ramp that goes to nowhere.
Yeah.
Eventually it will go somewhere though. We get, you know, someday it's going to go somewhere. We did the same thing to the RV park, Settlers Junction RV park. He screamed and he was crying that he had to put in what was on the plans. And he says, well, there's nothing's going to ever happen down the frontage road here, down Old Highway 91. But we, you know, the is on the plans that we required it, that type of thing. He put it in, and yeah, it goes to nowhere right now. In 20 years, in 5 years, in 2 years, we don't know what's going to happen. You know, we don't know that. But so the other thing is do we come back and we flip the bill for that later? You know, to put it in front because now we don't have a connected sidewalk because we didn't make that guy put it in. But I'm not saying that's what the case is here.
We did reserve the right in this agreement to come back and construct the trail system. And if you approve this agreement tonight, one thing we'll suggest adding in here is that if in the event that the city did want to construct this trail later, if you say, gosh, we shouldn't have done that, we should fill in that gap there. We should add language in here that says that the Sapp Brothers will convey that land to us, the land that we need free and clear, and we can move forward with our trail if we want at our cost, at the city's cost, but we still have that right.
Just so you know, all of that trail and that curb is in the UDOT right away.
Right. So that
There's no deeding of property back and forth. And their borrow ditch that they currently have built right now in certain areas is not built as per detail.
So you said it's 100% in the UDOT right away, but it might still be a good idea to put some kind of language in there just in case we need something from them as far as some kind of sign off.
Makes sense.
But I think you're right. It probably would be pretty simple.
I just wanted them to realize that it's in the
Yeah,
UDOT.
I think that was
All of
important.
that is in the UDOT right away, just like our curb gutter and sidewalk is in our right of way.
I'm torn. That's
So,
the best one.
so just to summarize the options here for me, the options are we make them do it and then it's done. The other option is we take the money that it would cost for them to do it, and then we're gonna, the talk now is not to save it in an account for future when it's gonna need to be done. The option is to take that money and use it towards something else in the city right now. So then later on, we're stuck, the city is stuck with
Yes.
doing that.
Correct.
Okay.
If it wants the trail there.
If it wants, if we want the trail there.
If you want the trail there, you would be burdened with the cost of it later.
Okay. And then so like in that last, in item, business item number 1, we charged them, we were gonna have a charge of 125% cash bond. We can't up the amount here. Can we up the amount if we're going to defer it and save it in our account? Can we, to account for inflation or whatever, construction costs 10, 15, 20 years ago? Can we get 150 or 200%?
No, I mean, you could
You
according
could
to an
try,
agreement,
but I doubt they would agree just because
Right.
to them at that
They'd
point,
say,
it'd probably
"Forget it,
make
we'll
more
just build
sense.
it
They just say, let's just build our
ourselves."
trail. You could ask.
And remember that typically when that agreement is over 100%, that's a warranty portion that does go back to whoever the developer is after a year warranty is up. So, I mean, this is just an agreement between two entities. So, yeah, we could ask for anything we want, but
You could, yeah.
at that point they would just build it. Anything over 100%, they'd just build
But
it.
their
themselves.
requirement is the asphalt trail, correct? So if they're going to do curb and gutter at the intersection, they're obviously going to want to continue with cement sidewalk. So I agree with the fact that ultimately, if they do put curb and gutter in any part of that area, you're going to have an interruption with an asphalt trail instead of a sidewalk. So in reality, it's ultimately going to be torn out, switched over to curb and gutter at the end of the day.
Yeah, and if we have them put it in, we won't pay for it in the future.
Right, so,
So if it gets torn out,
Yeah.
we will require it to be put back in. If UDOT came in and tore it out, they would be required to put it back. Or they would put it back. They'd put it back wherever they need
I
to.
don't think they'd have to tear it out because I can't imagine establishing a grade that right now that they won't change
yeah,
when they come off of there with a new.
And that's,
Yeah.
that's that, brothers. They said they can build it, but they just don't want to spend the money and then have it, see it torn out and just waste the money. So that was one of their arguments. So, yeah, we just don't know what the state's going to do, what their engineer, their plan's going to be, what it's going to look like. So,
so are we going to see this again when they give us a dollar amount?
Not the way it's currently written. We could if you'd like.
Who's going to make the decision on accepting the offer or not?
So the process, what we would do is we would put it through the engineering pool to make sure that the unit prices are correct, that with today's prices. And essentially they would come up with the dollar amount there. They probably, to tell you the truth, they have a contractor on site. They probably have a contractor's price right now to put it in, which is better than an engineer's estimate. Because they have a price of, it's like when Wayne gives them a price, that's the price to put it in. And it doesn't matter if the engineers are saying it's $100 and they're saying it's $200, the contractor is going to put it in for $200 or whatever.
Right, but
So-
someone here has to say.
Verify.
I'll
Yeah,
agree to
'cause-
that, verify it, agree to it, and then say yay or no.
Yeah, so that,
Who's got that authority when you're
Right now,
looking
it's at the staff
200,000?
level. You could change that. You could say, council has to approve this. The way it's written right now, it says the city shall verify the cost estimate reasonably reflects the anticipated costs of the trail system.
Yeah.
So it's at staff level.
To do that,
It'd be like Wayne?
it's going to be cheaper than what they're telling you it's going to do. I don't know why they're saying that's so high like that.
And that's why we'd have it reviewed by a party that represents the city.
not the
We're
developer.
protecting the city's interests with this.
Okay, so
I
the
looked it up. I got it.
premise is that when we verify their submitted contractor's amount, we verify it, and it's that dollar amount that we're going to be approving.
Correct.
Okay.
And it'll come to you guys. If you guys wanted to do that, it would come back to you guys for approval.
Well, it's not like I want to try to make money on it. It's just.
Well, they won't let you make money. If that's more than what it costs them to put it in,
Right.
they're just gonna say, no, we'll just put it in.
They'll put it in, right?
Well, we're gonna wait till we get numbers or what?
I mean, they want to
think-
get going.
I
I'll
think
go
the
ahead.
question that I'd ask is, well, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
It's just, is anyone in this room more qualified than our city engineer to determine the cost? I think that's the
Yeah.
question, right?
Staff level can determine whether it's a good offer or not a good offer.
Right.
So,
I mean, it could be a difference if, there's materiality to it. Maybe if this is a $20,000 concession, then that wouldn't get us much in the way of a park improvement and it would just make more sense to put the thing in.
Yeah.
But so if the question comes down to materiality, then it may be subject to council discretion. But as far as like validating the actual cost of the infrastructure, I think that I would defer to the city engineer.
That's a good point.
Yeah, that's a good point, though. If it's,
So the way it's written right now is, hang on, let me find the language. Sapp Brothers shall obtain a written cost estimate by a licensed professional engineer and shall provide the cost estimate to the city. The city shall verify the cost estimate reasonably reflects the anticipated costs consistent with industry standards and comparable projects. Then the city gets to approve of the cost estimate in writing if you find that it reasonably reflects what an engineer thinks it should cost. So that's the process right now. We can change that if needed.
You could put in the motion too, that if it's less than the dollar amount that the city council would like to read.
You could.
Again,
you could make that motion.
Yeah.
I can.
You can.
I mean, the same thing like you said, Darren, too. We required the RV park to put everything in.
Yeah.
We did.
So,
We did.
so why are we deviating?
The easiest and the best, cleanest way is to follow your rules.
Yeah.
We've already, like I say, we've already made the RV park do it. Yeah.
No, the only reason I state that is because we as staff have to follow the standards and specifications. We can't defer that.
No, right.
Or we can't vary from that.
Yeah, that's a little bit different with the RV park
It
over
is.
there. There's gonna be people tying in eventually. This one's right
This-
next to the freeway and the underpass is gonna, we know that.
We know it's
We
going
know
to
it's
change.
gonna change.
We know it's going to change, yeah.
That one over there should.
It's going to get torn out.
Yeah. So that's the question. Spend the money, put it in, which is great, have it torn out, have it replaced. It's just, you want to spend, it's a waste of resources.
We have a park that we're having strong
Think
struggle.
of all the enjoyment people will get before they tear it out.
Mm-hmm. You go down there, one wheel, back and forth.
I'll put some rocks on there for you.
Although it gets back to a regular, it gets back to a road construction job. Put it in, tear it out, put it in, tear it out, put it in, tear it out.
Yeah, that seems wasteful.
Yeah.
That one probably is wasteful for sure. The grade will change.
How much, you got any idea what you think this might cost?
We just have the number they
I've
can.
heard from, so huge contractors, verbally I've heard between 175 and 250. And I would assume they've already got the price, I tell you the truth. They got the job based on a set of construction plans. They have a price.
I would say we set the bar at 200K. If it's less than 200K, then let's say it again so that we can make the decision on what the monetary money is going to do.
Yeah,
for the
That's
city.
fine.
Is that limiting us if we set a bar?
What's that?
What motivates us to go higher than that?
Yeah.
Well, if it's less than the fair market value or the engineer's estimate, less than 200,000, so my reasoning behind that is like, if it, just like that, if it's $100,000, $50,000, it might be better just to put the
Just
trail
put it in.
even though it might get tore out later, but if the amount of money is not going to be a benefit to actually affect the trail system or the park system, then
200, 175, or what, I mean, what?
I mean, 200 is a better number.
Oh, absolutely.
Because
So it seems like there's a lot of concern about what the number is going to come back at and if it's going to be a number that actually makes sense to move forward. Yeah. So, like we mentioned before, you can build in more protections for the city in terms of saying something like city council can have the final say on whether they want to move forward with it. After receiving the bid, you could table it and request that they get a bid. You could do a few different things.
I say we just set it down. If they make it, they make it, it's done. If not, it comes back anyway. I have alternate reasons.
To you
for
guys,
setting
yeah.
it.
I mean, we could just tell staff it's got to be over 200, not necessarily put it as a condition. They might come in
Well,
with
if you don't put it,
230.
if you don't set it as a condition of the motion, then they're gonna get the agreement. You know, tie it.
It'd be kind of tough if you get, an engineer's estimate and then it's verified. And then at that point you say, we just don't want to move forward because it didn't meet our number. I think Joey's right. You probably do need to make it a condition or make it part of the agreement so that it's expressed. If it meets the threshold, then we'll take it. If not, we're backing out.
Well, if not, it's gotta come back for another decision.
So is that tabling it? Or should we just table it at this point?
No, we need to give them an answer so they know which direction to go. They're trying to open it by the 1st of October.
It
So we
seems
don't
like the
want to
majority of the council's ready to defer it or put it back into the system, but if it's not,
monetarily.
it's not worth it for the city, then we'll think about it at that time. If it is, then it's a done deal.
Yeah.
So you say 200, if it's not 200, make them pay it. Make them do it.
Well, no, then
No.
just get them to,
Or
they can come back, we'll look at it if it's, if it comes in at
198
or something, and
right.
no one's gonna say anything, but
But it's back to timing. We need to get it,
is you ready for a motion?
absolutely.
One thing I'll mention real quick, Joey, it's probably been forgotten about, but we would recommend in approving this agreement that you add a provision that says in the event that the city does decide to come back and install the trail themselves, that Sapp Brothers will convey to the city any land necessary as shown in the construction drawings that were attached.
As stated. Perfect.
Okay.
You got that?
It would be good to summarize it again, but yeah.
May I make a motion to approve or accept a trail installation payment in lieu of improvements from the Sapp Brothers Trail? How do I say that? With the comments made by the city attorney for the property.
About conveying
about
property
conveying the
as
property
necessary.
As necessary, and the minimum number should be no less than 200,000.
That works. The cost estimate should be no less than 200,000.
Okay, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this? We do a roll call vote. Joanne, your end?
Aye.
Nay.
Aye.
All right.
Hi.
All right, motion
Vote however
carries.
you want. It's okay.
All right, you guys can go if you're, yeah.
Thanks, Vernon.
Thank you. You guys have a good evening. All right, item F4, discuss possible action on city council reconsideration policy. All right, reconsideration on items. We've talked about this last week. Right now we have, is it 10 days? Remind me, is it 7 days? That's right, 7 days. So,
I think how it's written in the draft here is fine because we've only used it one time in the time that I've known or been dealing with the city. And I don't know how many times it ever got used before that, but I think we could try this and see what it does.
So what is that, 14 days between city council?
Depends on the-
Four times a year, there's a fifth Wednesday in the month, in which case it would be.
So instead of 7, you're basically asking for 14 days.
So coming in at noon before the scheduled meeting, are
The
there
next-
posting requirements if we change the agenda?
it's
And
noon before the next,
The day
reg-
before.
the day before.
the day before? Okay.
And it would just be for the
you're
motion to
okay with-
reconsider. So the motion to reconsider would be on the agenda and then the
Okay.
next time. would be
So it will
reconsidered.
be fine for the public. They'll be advised. Okay.
Sometimes you got to live with what you vote. You know, the longer you go, the longer you stew about it, people change your mind. Work on you. I worry about that.
Well, the only, the motion to reconsider would be one thing. So the motion to reconsider
Has to
would be,
bring up,
it has to bring up enough new information or something of
New
that nature,
information.
and it has to have 2 votes to do it. So, I mean, there's going to be something of context to bring it into that. This is-
We didn't, so you can place certain requirements on bringing a motion to reconsider. Some studies have done that. Like, for instance, what Joey said, newly introduced evidence could be a basis for a motion to reconsider. We don't have any criteria for a motion to reconsider. So
But it
if
has
2
to be
council
two-
It has to
members,
be 2.
has to be 2 council members who voted in the majority on a motion approved or denied.
denied or approved.
That's our requirement.
So whether people are pushing or pulling, they have no idea whether the reconsideration is even going to go through when it gets to council. So this is just something to say, hey, I want to argue my case of why we should reconsider it. Doesn't mean that you're going to change your mind. Doesn't even mean it's going to make it back to the agenda. It's just the motion to reconsider and possibly bring it back to the council.
All right, any questions? Any other questions?
It really hasn't changed except the days.
Yeah, it just gave you more time.
I mean, there was a vote last year that, I voted no on and it didn't pass because everyone else voted yes on it. And, I got home and a couple of days later, I realized there are some other vital facts that the council should have decided on. And I thought, too late now. It's too late. So if I had this time, I would have been back in front of council.
I agree.
Was that a motion?
Might as well.
Didn't really-
I
didn't
move
sound
that
like
we
one.
go ahead and approve the city council's reconsideration policy draft.
I'll second it.
All right, I have a motion and a second. Any more discussion on this? Roll call vote. Chuck?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right, calendar of events, community cleanup, Saturday, August 16th and Sunday, August 17th, Center Street Park, Westfield Park, Trail Ridge, and States Park. They will have dumpsters there, so if you have trash, haul it to the dumpsters. Miss Tocqueville pageant, Thursday, September 18th, Hurricane High School. So if you can get out and support our Miss Tocqueville pageant, that would be great. So we need to move into a closed session. I need a motion for that.
Mayor, I'll make a motion to move into a closed session to discuss litigation, security, property acquisition, or sale of the character and professional competence or physical or mental health of an individual.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor? All right, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. It's 7:17. We'll be back in 5 minutes.